Following the speech, Labour continued to go on the attack. They released a video which showed how in government, Kemi Badenoch had pushed to remove the cap on work visas, leading to even more numbers coming. In Prime Minister's questions on December the 4th, he hit her again with the point. In the next PMQs, he repeated the "One Nation experiment in open borders" line. He's obviously very pleased with himself on that one. On this, it's a fair cop. Nobody can claim that she or her party in general have been anything other than atrocious on the issue. In the leadership contest, I was always a Jenrick man because he seemed to have a newly converted zeal for taking on the problem and was prepared to leave the ECHR in order to gain control of irregular migration. It might have all been pretense, of course, but it still showed promise. Indeed, several dissident right types had actively encouraged the election of Badenoch, believing it would weaken the Tories and hasten their destruction. Her policy weakness in comparison to Jenrick was part of this, but so too was Badenoch's own status as an immigrant to this country, with a pointedly African full name. This, such figures had it, would undermine her credibility on immigration and allow both Labour and Reform to attack. Needless to say, these voices rejoiced when Kemi won, but it may be short-lived. Jenrick might not have to wait long to get another shot. As Punch and Judy politics, what Labour has done in flanking the Tories from the right is quite effective. The dog whistle invocations of dissident Conservative ideas made some headlines and may have misled a few Red Wall voters who need a desperate excuse to keep supporting Red Team. But they were just that, invocations, lip service, a fancy dress, moustache and glasses. The manoeuvres are completely fraudulent because of Labour's previous actions and their inability to make concrete policy. And even as an eye-catching power play, the attack was short-lived. In the following days, Starmer hyped up yet another relaunch where, this time, he was finally going to get things back on track. This was it. Do or dare, the history books beckoned. On the morning of Thursday 5th of December, he walked out to a press pack, waiting eagerly to savour every wonderful statesmanlike moment. A heat pump engineer named Bliss introduced the Prime Minister, who walked out with a Richter's grin on his face. The camera shook, adjusting to his stance, as he gave the opening platitudes and lame jokes. Then he looked down and began to read. And we all fell asleep. The relaunch was absolutely dire. It was low energy, full of jargon and incomprehensible word salads. Missions, foundations, milestones and pillars of mission-led growth intermeshed in some hideous politico spiderweb. Immigration was only mentioned in passing, 200 words out of around 3,000, and the focus was mainly on the irregular or illegal types. This government will reduce immigration, legal and illegal, because that is what working people want. When did working people last figure in Labour's priorities? The media hated the speech, in a marked change from the honeymoon period, and they didn't hold back. No journalist asked a positive question. They jumped all over him and he limped away, hopefully to get a bollocking from some Malcolm Tucker character waiting in the wings. Old, boring, woolly Starmer was back, and it was clear that he was going to achieve very little. This was not some based Caesar who will reclaim our homeland, nor was it some Machiavellian third-way Tony Blair. Politics is more than just a sales pitch. It requires substance and joined-up thinking. And when you can't even manage a sales pitch, let alone the substance, you really are worthless.